Hey, good Monday, Symmetry. Good morning, good Monday, Symmetry Financial Group family. My name is Deric Brock. I am an agency director in Claremore, Oklahoma, direct to Marlon Faulkner as a part of the Pritchett Smith Offert hierarchy, and couldn't be more fired up to be a part of that team, that family. And what an exciting time of year. Altitude conferences are happening all across the country. Ours in the Pritchett Master Agency is this week in Memphis, and we are absolutely stoked about it. And a couple of buddies and I are really fired up to share the next few minutes with you. Today, hoping to launch you into this new week with wind in your sails and passion in your heart. And we're really fired up. So, the title of today's call is The Power of Perseverance. And I know that many of us don't like to use the word sales when we refer to what it is that we do, because it's so much more than that. But ultimately, this is sales, and this is a sales call. So let's recognize that in sales, perseverance is a vital non-negotiable, right? And so if you're going to win in sales, everything that we do, we must employ perseverance, and everything in this business rises and falls on mindset, right? So what is perseverance? To persevere simply means it's persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. We see that in books like the Go for No is a great book that I know many people have read. Another book called The Go-Getter, an old classic about blue vase mentality. If you're familiar with that book, if you're not, then go read it. It's a great book about mindset and drive and perseverance. And this is the mindset that we want to have in our culture. It's one of the key elements to our success. So when you hear the word perseverance, think about that for a minute. When you hear that word, what comes to mind? Maybe a movie that inspires you, or a historic figure, an athlete, or maybe even a personal friend. I think about the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, right? Many of us have seen that, and a great movie. And let's face it, how many tens of thousands of people have become stockbrokers, right? But Chris Gardner's story is worth telling and worth making a award-winning movie about, because of what he had to overcome to become a stockbroker. It's the struggle, the challenge, the price that he paid to reach the top, to have that breakthrough. And there's a video that we like in our team of a from 2008, a Big Ten conference indoor track meet, the conference track meet, wherein a young lady named Heather Dorniden trips and falls. She's the favorite to win the race, expecting the gold medal, and she trips and falls on the last lap of this 600-meter race, and gets up after she's now fallen behind by 15 to 20 meters with 200 meters left to go in the race, and she gets up and comes back and wins the dang race. And so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But it's those things that inspire us. It's seeing somebody fight through a struggle and come out on top, right? Isn't that what it is? So let's connect some dots here. By definition, in order to have the opportunity to persevere, requires that we face some difficulty. Yes? So the trouble is that everybody wants to be an overcomer, but nobody wants anything to overcome, right? So let's change the way we look at that by connecting some dots here. And listen, I'm going to tell you that even though I am a preacher, I promise I'm not going to preach on this call, all right? But I am going to reference, we reference all sorts of books. Heck, I've already referenced a couple of other books on this call. We reference other books all the time. So I'm going to reference the most widely read book in the history of the world, and share with you a powerful biblical teaching that applies to our business, right? Of which there are many, but this one in particular, in the book of James, chapter 1, there's a verse that says, Perseverance must finish its work in you so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Now, listen, that's incredibly exciting news. That if we don't have the opportunity to develop our perseverance muscles, we can never become all we're created to be, and we cannot reach maturity and completion. Therefore, we have the opportunity to choose to celebrate the struggle rather than despising it. Does that make sense to you? That is awesome news for somebody out there. Somebody out there needed to hear that truth. So that if there's a flow chart that to write down on this, it looks like this. This is a very rudimentary, basic flow chart, but you can write effort yields difficulty, yields perseverance, yields maturity. That's the flow chart here. That's exciting news. And I'm excited to introduce my first tag team partner for today's training call to talk about what perseverance looks like for a Symmetry agent, right? She has been here for a couple of years, running her race, doing her thing, helping people, serving people, received the Servant Leadership Award at the Smith conference in February, the Smith Master Agency. And that's just who she is in our culture, and an amazing team player and leads by example on all fronts. And so I'm excited for her to have a few minutes to share with you what she has done, what perseverance has looked like to her. And I know it's going to help you. So help me welcome team leader, top producer, Miss Alice Swan.
Thank you so much, Deric. I am so honored that I had the opportunity to speak with you and just be able to share my story. I often think that it's just something that I've learned to overcome. But as I was recapping everything last night, I got very emotional. It was really hard to relive it all, right? So let me just start saying that I started Symmetry in 2018 after losing my six-figure job that I had for almost 15 years. And I had lost it a couple months before I started Symmetry. And I was looking for an opportunity to replace my income. And I just felt like Symmetry was checking off all my boxes. So I wanted to say, I had a good start. I had just come back from conference, was not even licensed when I attended my first conference. But I was just sold on everything that I was hearing and seeing. And so I got on the phones, I scheduled appointments, and I remember my very first set was on a 50-cent lead. And the gentleman would not talk to me, he kept hanging up and hanging up and hanging up. I finally said, sir, please don't hang up on me. I told him who I was. He said, I'm not going to talk to you over the phone. If you want to talk to me, you have to come to my house. And so I said, sure, no problem. We're so excited, right? So I head over to his home after I scheduled a time with him. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was going to write. I had no information on him. But with the help of Deric, who is my direct mentor, we were able to ride over $3,100 APV my very first application. And so I thought, wow, this is what it's about. I wanted to help people. And I was excited about, learning a new craft because I had never done insurance. It was something new. I had been in another industry for 15 years. So this was all new to me. So I read a little bit more business, and then all of a sudden life kind of got in the way. My mother had gotten vascular dementia. About a year and a half earlier. It's one of the reasons why I left my other job. It just kind of took its toll trying to take care of my mom. Vascular dementia comes on very quickly from one day to the next, right? Within 3 months, she was completely not able to know who we were. And so as I was trying to help her, she'd ended up having some strokes soon after I started here. And so I had to take about a month and a half away to go be with her. She lives about 4 hours north of me. And so she's in a memory unit, and we were able to recover, right, and get her going. But when I came back, I felt like I had to start over again, right? That momentum that I had built up and excitement kind of had gone away over what I had just gone through with my mom. And so once we got her stable, I was able to come back. I finished out the year, a little over 20,000 submitted and 17,000 placed. So I thought, okay, this is working. I fell in love with the process and helping people, and I could earn a good income here. And so I decided to put in a GMR. I was working bonus leads in my city. but I kept hearing on the calls that the top producers were having to drive outside of their area. So for me, that was about 2.5 hours. So I started traveling and I started working really hard. I started getting great numbers in the first quarter of 2019. Things were looking really good. I was following the system. I was calling on Friday, booking Monday and Tuesday appointments, and I would return on Wednesday, get a little bit of a rest to start over. One thing that I didn't tell you guys is that I also have illnesses. I have a very severe fibromyalgia within my system, and that keeps me from doing everything that I want to do. Sometimes my mind wants to go, but my body won't. Sometimes my body does and my mind doesn't. So I have to rest in between. Now I'm taking care of me, I'm taking care of my mom, and then eventually my mom takes a turn for the worse. She falls and she ends up just being in the hospital for about a month and a half. So boom, I'm out of the field again. Unfortunately, my mother eventually did pass away, and it was really hard. So it took me some time to get back in the field, but I received a message from one of the leaders in Symmetry, Mr. Pritchett, amongst many. But this is the message that on the day that I buried my mother, was very impactful and just emotional. And I knew that Symmetry was the right place for me. Regardless of what happens, I was going to push forward and just keep going. So I returned once to the field again. That message really meant a lot to me, and I knew I was in the right place. And so I just kept going and going. And it eventually took a toll on my health again. But now I started seeing that my husband's health was going down, and all the signs that we'd seen with my mom, he was showing. And so I was afraid to leave the city, because remember, I have to drive 2.5 hours away to get there and 2.5 hours back. And so it was hard for me. I was scared. My health wasn't good. And now my husband's health was bad. And so it was just too much for me to really take on. And I decided that Symmetry wasn't going to be the best place for me after all. And so I made the decision that I was going to leave so that I could help my spouse, help my health, right? But then I thought, where else can I go that's going to give me what I need to help my family? And so I called Mr. Brock and I said, Deric, I really don't want to leave. And he's like, Alice, I'm here to support you in whatever way you need. And so I decided to come back and give it another chance, but I had a different mindset. My mindset was, this is my last chance, and I just got to do whatever it takes, regardless of what comes my way, I will overcome it. So how do I do that? I had to get better on the phones. I had to get better on the presentations. We had just rolled out virtual appointments. And so for me, this was my chance, right? It was like something just sent to me, because I no longer had to travel. I had a perfect opportunity laid in front of me, and I was not going to give that a second thought, right? So I doubled down on my GMRs. I made the commitment that regardless if my policies were getting issued or not, and I wasn't money coming in, I was going to put the money into my leads every single week. And even if I had a setback, policies, not being approved, I was still going to keep going. I believed in the system. I was on every single phone call, conference call, phone Teams, Zoom meetings. I just made a commitment to double down on everything I had done before. And I knew that eventually it was going to pay off. My husband got better, thank goodness. And we just kept going. I mean, it was just an amazing ride. And so for me, knowing that I believed in something, I had to believe in the system and know that it would eventually pay off as long as I did the work. I started scheduling 15 to 18 appointments a week. I bought leads in many states. I was getting up early to learn, to grow. I was ready to go by 8 o'clock to call carriers, to make sure my policies, I was putting them in the right place, right? To make sure that I was doing risk assessments. And so those are the kind of things that I think you have to do in order to succeed here, right? And just the harder I worked, the better I got. The better I got, the stronger my mindset got. And I realized it was all about mindset, regardless of what comes your way. if you're putting in the work and you're growing, those curveballs are not going to lock me down anymore. So now I just, find a better way. But more than anything, I just don't fall down because I've gotten stronger. Each and every month, I get stronger and stronger and stronger. And I'm excited for the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Alice. That is good stuff. And I wish we had more time to really dig out and flesh that out even more. That, when you summarize a story with that many moving parts, it's really hard to do. But that's why I have the respect that I have for her and the love that I have for her, is because I know what she's been through and how hard it's been, and her commitment to becoming a master of her craft has paid off. Not just for her, but for the families that she's protecting. Because of her perseverance, her refusal to lose. She is a top producer, as I said, a team leader, and her persistency for 2021 year to date is 92%. Right? That means that because of her hard work, she finds the right solutions for her clients, and they get protected and they stay protected. And for Alice, that means she's running a very profitable business. And so it's just a beautiful formula. So great job, Alice. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And our final guest recently had an experience that really ties this all together and really amplifies and reminds us why we do what we do, where our passion comes from. Everything we do is about helping people. Whether it's as an agent protecting families, or as agency builders helping our agents become good at protecting families, helping build a business that can change our lives. This is really ultimately what it comes down to, of what we do and why it's so important. This young man is a key leader in our team, a rising star in the company, an absolute crowd favorite in our agency family. And also just bends over backward to serve people, whether they're in his team or not. He doesn't discriminate. He's just here to make a difference, make an impact. And he's an awesome young man. And so this is key leader Hayden Berger. Hayden, share with us, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you introducing me like that. That was very nice of you. And also, Alice, thank you for sharing. I've heard a lot of those things before, and it hits me the same way, and sometimes a little bit different. And I'm just grateful to be on here with you guys. So, kind of coming off of what Alice said, my goal for the few minutes that I have is to create a little bit more urgency, not only for us here today, but as we do go through this week, and some of us are going to be going to altitude conferences. And I want to share with you a very, very real thing that did just take place a couple of weeks ago in my business. And just to kind of set the stage for that, when you get into this business and you're a full-time agent and you're out there, you start to develop a book of business with clients. Sometimes you have 100 or several hundred different clients. And in my situation, I was out there protecting families. And sometimes, you write this business and you're like, I guess I don't want to get those calls of, like, say, a death claim, right? That's not what you want to have, but we are out there serving a purpose, and what we do matters. And I want to share with you just a quick story, and I'm going to share a live audio. I met with a family on November 16th of 2020. And this couple was, the gentleman that I was really protecting was 49 years old, or 48 at the time. And I received a call that I'd like to share with you. And I hope that whatever you're doing right now, if you could just stop what you're doing and just pay attention to this. I think that this will do a lot for yourself today, and hopefully for the rest of the year for your business. So bear with me.
Hi, Mr. Berger. My name is Deborah Dobie. My husband was Stephen Dobie. If you could call me back, it's 580-583.
So SFG family, as we sit here today and we make our calls, there are several other people that are going to go through that exact same thing. that it's not something that I went through. I had to persevere in that moment. It took me a total of 3 times to meet with that family. They rescheduled, they canceled. But what we do matters. We can't quit at the first no. No doesn't always mean no. It may mean not right now. People get busy, we're busy, but we have to we have to put that in our back pocket and keep pushing. If someone reschedules, that's the nature of our business that we're in. As a result of that perseverance, that not just that I had to go through, but that was going on almost a year ago. Reschedule, sat on the meeting, and I was able to help that family with a $500,000 insurance policy through National Life Group. And it's hard to hold back the emotions there because I can literally remember every single piece of that puzzle because it was real. But that family, not only because he was responsible and then I persevered through that, they're going to be in a lot better situation because our job is to leave people better than we find them. That's all I got, Deric.
Man, that's so good. Thank you. Thank you for persevering, Hayden, on behalf of that lady and her family. Thank you for doing your job, brother, for caring enough to stay committed to doing what was best for them and serving them like you did. Their situation, as tragic as it is so different than it would have been had you not done your job, had you not persevered and been relentless in getting that family protected. So mad respect for you, brother. I appreciate that. So friends, be encouraged today. When challenge comes, run into it, not away from it. Double down on trusting that the Symmetry system works. Listen, the founders have invested heavily into developing the most robust training platform in the business. Are we leveraging it? Are you squeezing everything out of that they've provided to you free of charge? Are you leveraging the system that they have put in place? From the newest agent to the oldest veteran on here, every one of us has the opportunity to become as good as we want to be through the platform that Symmetry has provided for us. So ask yourself a few questions. Who's depending on me to persevere? What will be lost if I don't? Whose life are you going to impact because of your choice to persevere? Whose family may be rescued financially, and then the ripple effect that creates? Because you are the hero in their story, as Hayden is to that family. That family will forever remember Hayden's name because of what he did for them. Listen, stories are only worth telling and worth watching. The only reason I and hundreds of thousands of other viewers have seen a Big Ten conference track meet race is because the young lady fell down. That's what makes the story compelling. The fall down, the getting back up and refusing to lose. Let's leave it all on the field this week. That starts with today. Lay your head on the pillow tonight knowing that you left everything on the field. You gave it all you had. Go make a difference in someone's life today. Have a blessed week.